Hello, everyone. Please welcome to the stage David Haney, Bernard Purdie, and his all-stars. Yeah.
Don't stop now!
Folks, thank you so much for coming. We're going to start right away. There are stories that I'm going to retell. These are not my stories. These are other people's stories. Usually, the stories are about individuals, right? Music is about being an individual, but it's also about working together. Monk and Ellington and all those they work together. So we're going to talk about a group called the Creative Music Studio, and we're going to talk about some of the founding members. Yeah, and that's it. We're going to start with person. His name is Ornette Coleman. Yeah? Okay. Now, this is a photo that a photographer wrote his feelings about the photo. So I'm going to share that. These are not my words. These are Patrick Heinley's words, the photographer. Ornette Coleman's music communicated many different things to many different people. What I learned from it, specifically from the concert which I shot, this photo, this is one of my all-time favorite photos that I've done, is that trying to make things happen doesn't always work. And that sometimes you just have to let things happen. Yeah? Case in point. In my youth, listening to some of his early albums, Atlantic Records, there was it's called Beauty is a Rare Thing. Okay? I kept seeking enlightenment listening to these records, but the end of the side always came before I reached it. I was trying so hard to listen that I didn't or I couldn't hear what was actually going on. Then came this concert, okay, which was still in West Berlin. Here were 4 fellow humans. Don Cherry and Charlie Hayden aren't in the photo. This is Billy Higgins on drums, Ornette Coleman. So they were deeply, deeply involved in listening, and doing so in such a way that was like a child, just a transparent child inspired by what's happening. They were playing for one another, but they were playing for us as well. Beauty is a rare thing indeed. Maybe the thing I like about this image of Ornette is because he's visibly, if only barely, right on the edge of darkness, taking in such pleasure in a fleeting moment of repose. was headquartered at across the street from the Delphi at the Hotel Savoy. And on my way down to breakfast the next morning, another man boarded the elevator. He looked vaguely unto subliminally familiar in a generic way. A mildly striking visage, like one might see on TV or in the movies, but not the face of the star. I couldn't place him for the life of me. As we reached the lobby, the doors began to open. I realized the man was David Byrne of Talking Heads. So I had indeed seen him in a movie. I saw him in True Stories. So I tried to come up with something to say, preferably no more than a sentence, without any subordinate clauses. Given the ephemeral tenure remaining in our sharing the same space, I sensed someone standing before the open doors, waiting to board the elevator. It was Ornette Coleman. I don't think they knew each other. He and Byrne, they kind of looked past each other. And with that same deadpan glaze, focused on infinity, just over the shoulder, a necessary technique for celebrities to avoid eye contact and to maintain insulation from an adoring public who may mean well, but will still eat up just as much time when there's not enough and there are many things to do. For a nanosecond, I thought of introducing them, but before I could, the elevator doors were closing behind Ornette, and Byrne was heading out of the hotel's front door. So, I never got a chance to find out if Byrne was at Ornette's concert the night before, because I never asked. And that's my story. Thank you. Kirk, Knuffke on cornet. Adam Lane on bass. I'm David Haney. And this is Bernard Purdie. Okay, Bernard Purdie. Okay, thank you. Wow. All right, we have some more stuff here. This is another set of stories about Ornette Coleman, and it's from Bashir Attar. He is the leader of the master musicians of Jajuka. Okay, and you know, I don't know if you've ever had a situation where you forgot something like really big, but that's what happened to him. He forgot the tune he was going to play for Ornette's funeral. And it reminded, I had an experience where when I was a kid, I was put on a racehorse. I was like 6 years old, and they put me on a horse, and it took off down the thing and threw me flying. And I completely forgot, right? It was years later that I remembered. And this is what happened with Bashir. This tune you're hearing is what came to him afterwards, because he lost the memory of what he was supposed to play. And so this is what he came up with. But before we go back to that story, let me back up to two other stories that Bashir has. And again, these aren't my stories, okay? This is, I'm talking, but it's Bashir Attar. All right. So this is my best memory, all right? It's when Ornette Coleman in 1973 comes to the village, along with great artists William Burroughs and jazz critic Robert Palmer, yeah? It was amazing for me. I was 9 years old at the time. They stayed and made music all week, every night in the village. It was Ornette and guests from Europe and America. They made music from sunrise to sunset. Yeah. I remember how Ornette recorded all that week. Yeah. It was legendary, and it was the most magic music I had ever heard. It was with my father and Ornette. It was something that can never happen again. That's why Ornette is the one. He surrendered to the music. He's one of the best of them in jazz. He described free jazz. I think what he means by free is it's like free to be witnesses, yeah? To be witnesses to human music on earth. I love Ornette. That's why I love Ornette always. Because he's more than open. He is human musician, as Jajuka is human music. I had conversations with Ornette, but my English is not very good. When I visited him the last time in Brooklyn, before the tribute to Ornette, I visited him in his apartment. We laughed and we talked, and I told him I was going to do a song called Anytime. Because when you say to him, "Oh, I will come to see you next week," he would say, "Anytime, anytime, anytime." I love that. I have a song called Anytime, Ornette. Ornette, Anytime. Okay, so Ornette's funeral. Ornette's funeral. His funeral was amazing. I was there with my brother. I was invited to the funeral to lead the procession. I saw him in the room with his family. I have to play one song. It's a song for the funeral procession. But when I see him in the open coffin, I forgot the song. I mean, really, I forgot what I was going to play. After I left the private room, I don't know what to play. I said to my brother, I don't know what to play. I have forgotten what I arranged. It's gone. It's because, I'll tell you why. I saw him. He was sitting there in the coffin. That was Ornette. But he was smiling. He was smiling. And it just spooked me, and you could see that on YouTube, But it was strange. I lost the song, and then a song came to me. It was different. I'd never played something like that before. It's crazy. I don't know where the song came from. Kirk, Knuffke, Ornette, Adam Lane, Bernard Purdie. We're going to have Kirk and Adam come back, but at this point, I'm going to invite Billy Martin, Gabby, fluke-mogul, and Marty Erhlich to come up. Purdie shuffle. Hey. Let's see.
Oh,
this guy. Here we go.
Hi, everybody. My name's Billy Martin, and I'm here with Marty Erhlich and Gabby, fluke-mogul. I have been passed on the leadership role along with Gabby. We're both working, leading Creative Music Studio into the future. This incredible legacy that we're talking about, all of these incredible musicians, these stories. And I think, do we have a picture?
Yes.
Yeah, so Carl Berger and Ingrid Sertso, these lovely souls here, started Creative Music Studio in 1971 with Ornette Coleman. I think the very first workshop that was led was in Ornette's loft. And then what followed, Carl and Ingrid, originally from Germany, moved here. They were hanging out in New York, and they took a trip to Woodstock, upstate New York, and they fell in love with that area. And there were a lot of other musicians living up there at the time, too. Jack DeJohnette, Dave Holland, Carla Bley, and so when I met Carl and Ingrid, it was at a workshop that I was doing with the band that I played with, Medeski Martin Wood. We had a retreat called Camp MMW, and my good friend John Medeski said, "Hey, we should invite Carl and Ingrid to teach a master class, to talk to the students." And I was like, "Who's Carl and Ingrid?" I didn't know who they were. He said, "Yeah, they're from CMS." I'm like, "What's CMS?" I didn't even know what CMS was. This is 15 years ago. But I knew all of the musicians that went through CMS, so it was really an honor to meet them. And after they did their master class, I hadn't seen Carl or Ingrid after that for many, many years. And I was asked to actually work with Bashir Attar, master musicians of Jujuka. I was introduced to Bashir, and I invited him up to do a workshop with us. And then he invited me to produce a record, and that was when Ornette Coleman came in. He wanted Ornette to play on this record, which was a fundraiser for the musicians of Jujuka in Morocco. I started to, so I went up to Ornette's apartment. Donardo, his son, manages everything. He said, "Come up and visit my dad and talk about this record you're producing, and maybe Ornette can play on it, you know." So I went up to his apartment. I brought a little suitcase with recording gear. I thought, I'm going to record Ornette, you know, for this record. I'm just going to show up and he's going to play. And I got there, and Ornette said, "We're going to take our time here. Let's play some pool." He had this beautiful big pool table in his apartment, and we just played pool all night. And he beat me every game except one. And that was my first time I met Ornette Coleman. And after that, he invited me every year. I went to his, well, for a few years, I went to his birthday parties. And lo and behold, Carl Berger was there. And Carl asked me, "Would you come up to Woodstock and teach a workshop?" And I said, "Sure. I don't know what it's about, you know, this Creative Music Studio thing." So I went up there, and I came in the morning, and they were everybody was singing. They had this Pauline Oliveros. Pauline wasn't there, but it was a Pauline Oliveros singing circle. They were tuning, and there was about 25 people just singing, like holding a note, all different notes. And I like heard the universe. It was so beautiful to hear this chorus of people who weren't singers, but they had everybody using their voice. So I fell in love right then with the process. Along the day, I saw how everybody was teaching, you know, their way to get everybody to understand themselves, how to bring their style out. It was very beautiful. So I fell in love. I started to learn about what Creative Music Studio was. So I taught my workshop, and Carl came up to me and he said, "I love what you're doing. You're a fundamentalist." I said, "A fundamentalist?" I was thinking, that's like terrorist stuff. I don't, you know. He was like, "No, everything what you teach is very fundamental. That's the CMS way. We want to reach everybody, even non-musicians, to show them how they can make music with us, so we can bring the music out of them. Everybody has music in them." So I kept falling in love with this idea. This is great. This is a great situation. So time went by, and Carl invited me to hand over the leadership to let me run CMS. So here I am. We're talking about CMS. David, thank you so much for sharing these stories. Gabby and I are working on presenting CMS workshops in Brooklyn at I-Beam. It's a place called I-Beam, and upstate New York in Kingston. at the Shirt Factory. We have a lot of different events. But anyway, that's my story about how I got introduced to Creative Music Studio, and I hope you check it out sometime. creativemusic.org. And the legacy is incredible. It's been around since the 70s, and we plan to keep it going and help everybody play music. Everybody can play music.
Gabby, fluke-mogul, violin. Marty Erhlich on bass clarinet. Sorry.
Reeds, he's got, that's a bass clarinet? I got a flute, a clarinet, and sax.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Marty. Thank you. And Billy Martin on percussion. The story. Okay, I'm going to tell some stuff from Oliver Lake. Oliver Lake is a reeds player, composer, flute.
First sax player I ever heard play live.
The first sax player that Marty Erhlich ever heard live.
Hell of a start.
Nice,
Well,
nice.
the Stan Kenton band came once, but I'm going to start with Oliver.
Oh, cool. Okay. All right. So, somebody asked, how do you define creative music? All right. So Oliver says, even Ellington or Ornette didn't like their music to be called jazz. Yeah? At first, creative music was a synonym for jazz as a personal expression. The term creative music expresses the fact that you're moving forward. You're searching. You're not standing still. You're trying to make things happen. You're using different elements of the music together. You don't go to one spot. That was the energy that was being expressed by the creative music studio. So, still Oliver Lake, the CMS, the Creative Music Studio, was situated in what used to be a motel with separate cabins and several big halls where people lived, ate, and played together. It felt like a commune of sorts. The feeling of equality between all participants made it conducive for many unusual concerts and musical concepts to come forth. There was a spiritual aura and an energy about the place. Also, discussions in the classes got into the spirituality of music. Hang on, one more. Quite a few of the students, okay? Quite a few of the students from the CMS have gone on and they've created successful careers in creative music. That really stands out to me, that so many were inspired and wanted to continue to play the music after they have experienced the CMS. They got a chance to hear the philosophies of the various artists and speak to artists who were living the life of creative musicians, traveling, performing, and composing. And that's my story. Wow. Billy Martin on percussion. Okay.
Bernard Purdie.
Yeah, did I mention Bernard Purdie? Come on. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. So this is our last story for the night. This is by. I know. It goes quick, you know. Yes, me too. Marlyn Crispell wrote this story. She's a piano player, yeah, and very good piano player. So here we go. This is her words. Marlyn Crispell. In the summer of 1977, I met Carl Berger at a workshop in Boston, and he invited me to check out the summer session at CMS. I never left. I've been living in Woodstock ever since. Now, the culture of CMS, the Creative Music Studio, was one of freedom, a space that allowed people to connect in a relaxed way, in a way they wouldn't have in the city. There was time to interact because the workshops were for a week. And that created a lot of interplay between the guiding artists and the participants. There was a spirit of exploration and no sense of right or wrong. I met like-minded musicians like Anthony Braxton, who lived down the road. The first time I played with him, he said, "This is my new pianist," which kind of took me by surprise. I listened to that recording with him, and it sounds great. So CMS, they allowed for a lot of global interaction and hanging out. Global interaction and hanging out. The sessions were at an old Catskills hotel. And after playing all day, musicians from Africa, Brazil, and elsewhere would sit outside by the fire and play and dance and talk. There were very, very forceful exposure. Okay. One more time. Here we go. This is important. There was a very forceful exposure to other cultures. A forceful exposure to other cultures. And that's my story. Thank you. Thank you so much. Marty Erhlich. Adam Lane. Kirk Knuffke. Gabby fluke-mogul. I get. Billy Martin. I'm David Haney. Thank you. And over there's Bernard Purdie. Bernard Purdie. Oh. Thank you so much. One more? Half of a one. We're going to do a half of... That's really fast, too, a half one there. Just...
The only reason why I want to say just a half one because I'll get in trouble otherwise. So I would like to say I'm a happy man.
Yeah.
Tonight I only gave a touch of the Purdie Shuffle. I'd like to give you a second touch. And then I'm going home. It started out many years ago. So, for those of you just learning it, it's okay. I can help you, because I got my t-shirt outside that's got the Purdie Shuffle written on it. But the whole point is that it's fun. And that's what we're supposed to do with it. Have fun with it. And it took me that many years to get it together. Just remember, it's halftime. Everything that you do is in full time. It's a 2-bar phrase, and that phrase will allow you to smoke all night. And since I have my cohort here,
Thank you, Bernard. Adam Lane, Bernard.
Bravo, bravo.
Okay, thank you, folks. You've been a great audience. Okay, this is wonderful, but it really means a lot to have a good audience. So thank you. This is a great place. You know, tip your waiters or wait people. You know, it's really they're doing a great thing, I think, with creativity and all that stuff. And they've been very nice to us. So thanks to Joe's Pub. Thanks to you, and thanks to the band.